Hey guys, it's Dr. J again. Today we're going to talk about the nutritional principles towards transformation. Today's episode 13, so lucky number 13. And so one of the big things to understand outside of the five key principles that we'll go over today is the hormones involved. There are three key hormones that we're going to unpack and go through that are highly related to all the results that you want to get. So number one is insulin. And so insulin is the one that's directly influencing the sugar that's in your blood. So obviously the amount of sugar that you intake is going to play a big role there. And sugar also is considered the fat manager, meaning it causes fat storage by the amount of sugar that you intake. So the more sugar you intake, the more fat storage you have the capability of doing. So the first step really is just to eliminate sugar, especially added sugar and sugar in just about anything. And so when you start looking at those labels, that's anything in OSE. So sucrose, fructose, like high fructose corn syrup, any sort of sugar or OSE sort of structure that's going to be in there, then that's going to be something you want to avoid. So outside of insulin, we have leptin, and leptin is what you not what you did in the pool, right? Now you didn't leap in. You didn't. I leapt in the pool. Now leptin is the fat burning hormone. So that's the one that your body tells your brain, hey, burn fat. Like your fat cells secreted this thing and saying, hey, we need to burn fat, burn fat, burn fat. But if the brain stops listening to leptin, just like insulin, you can become resistant to it. And so the next one is Grehlin, not to be confused with gremlins. Those are the green guys with the pointy ears. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, go look at some 80s movies. But gremlins are not it. Ghrelin is hunger. So ghrelin is the hunger hormone. And so all of these are in interplay. But back to the five key points. So number one is eliminating sugar, okay? Because that's going to play a big role with insulin. The second one is eliminating grains. And grains, like we've been taught for many, many years, that they are a foundational nutrient that we all need and that are healthy for you. But the reality is that there are no essential grains, there are no essential carbohydrates, meaning your body can make all the sugar and carbohydrates that it would need to maintain blood sugar from the proteins and the fats and all of the other things that we have. So it's just carbon structures, and your body can make it very simple, anything that it needs, provided everything's functional. So we don't really need that. And then grains, by and large, have been highly modified from what the kind of grains that we used to eat in ancient times. So the kind of grains that we have access to now are completely different by and large. The other recognition is that many people will actually have a higher blood sugar spike from eating grains than even from things like candy bars. So eliminating grains for many people is one of the biggest missing pieces as we're just looking at changing our aspects in our nutrition. So third step is eliminating most fruit. Now that's a big shocker for many because there's a lot of good vitamins, got a lot of good nutrients and stuff in fruit, but the reality is that most of us are on our way to insulin resistance and our hormones just get way out of whack, and what we have to do essentially is to shock the body into a situation where it has to adapt and recover. And so for this duration of things, until we get the hormones fixed or until we get the fat burning online and live and working, then we have to move a little bit deeper. You know, I mean, even though fruits are natural, I mean, God made those guys, and the challenge is He didn't make us to get leptin resistant. So what we have to do is eliminate most fruits, at least for a duration. Now, there are some that are less intense in the amount of sugar that they have. So things like the sour fruits and things like grapefruit, lemon, limes, the Granny Smith apples. Those are something that are ultimately very helpful as well. The next thing in number four is really looking out for additional toxins. Okay, so when you start looking at ingredients, they need to look for things that you can pronounce. If you cannot pronounce it, then that's certainly something that you don't want to eat. The last piece that I'm going to talk about today is moderating your protein. And I'll talk more about this later, but essentially, we need to have the most natural state possible, most organic, non filled with hormones or antibiotics or things that we don't. I don't want to be eating animals that were sick, things like that. So, thanks, guys, and we'll get at it for more transformation tips.